Hey guys, it's February 8th and I'm headed to the mini storage. I've got one Mr. Bill action figure. Some of you guys that are old as dirt like me remember him from Saturday Night Live, the "Oh No Mr. Bill" guy. I printed off my label to take with me to the mini storage, and I don't know if any of you guys, I've got a Rollo printer and it usually does great, but here lately it's been leaving these specks all over the place. And I reprinted this one, and it's got a little better, but it's still got that one speck, but that'll track just fine. It's not really a huge deal because it still works, but I'm wondering what causes that. I've cleaned the thing a couple of times with alcohol and Q-tips and wiped it off the area that I know it prints from. The only thing that I've seen that might possibly be causing it is if it's between labels for a few days. My labels are stacked by the window, and I'm kind of wondering if maybe the light coming in through the windows fading them out or something. So I don't know if you guys have run across that. What I'm going to do next is like cover those up and see if that changes anything over the next few weeks. But if you've come across anything like that, drop me a note in the comments. It's the same labels I've been using for quite a while, so I didn't change or anything, and they're decent quality, they seem like. So anyway, it's kind of weird. Beautiful day here in Middle Tennessee, and gonna get out and do some walking after a while. It's 48 degrees now, so it's gonna be pretty nice out. It's really sunny and pretty out. So anyway, I'm gonna hit the mini storage and gonna hit one of my thrift stores and see if I can record a little bit in there. Sometimes I find some cool stuff in there, and other times it's a bust, just like everything else. It's chicken one day and feathers the next. I'll get back with you in a minute. Well, made it down here to the mini storage, and of course I had to check the dumpster. Woohoo! Some pretty amazing stuff today. Be nice if that was new and full. No such luck. Dadgummit. Oh well. Guess somebody was tired of their couches. Chairs and such. Is that a golf bag? Might be. Yep, it's a GB. Stands for golf bag. Alright. I've sold a couple of those on Craigslist. I'll take that sucker. What else we got in here? I think that's it. All right, time to grab their Mr. Bill. And this little dude is in tote A. So he definitely was not in tote A. He was in tote G, just like I had written on the back. Anyway, details. I got to look through tote A, which I turned around backwards. And of course, the OCD in me is not going to let that happen. So here's the way I've done it, like I was talking about earlier. I pulled it, listed it. Well, actually, I pulled it, packed it, weighed it, measured it, and then I did the listing, and then I wrote that on there so I'll know what I'm looking for when I come back to get it. And everything else looks pretty good right now. I straightened up the other day, so I think we're ready to go. I'll just pull this label off and stick it over the stuff that I've written. Smooth it down a little bit because I sure don't want it coming off. Every once in a while, one of those edges will catch and it kind of causes me a little bit of a anxiety attack. There, I can sleep tonight now. Okay. Yep, good to go. It's not much, but it's $10 probably. So that core of the lock, typical little mini storage thing, I think most of them got the same kind of deal. Just turns in here, leaves a lock in it, and you're good to go. Leave my key here in the car, and I've also got one in the van, so whatever I'm driving that day, I'm good to go. All right, we're headed to the post office. Well, guys, I didn't film inside my thrift stores yesterday. I hit a couple of them. First one was really good, a little neighborhood type one, and then I hit a Goodwill later on. What I'm going to do is just kind of show you what I got, and then I think I'm going to run through everything, and I'll put something up on the screen of how much I think it's going to go for each item, and a total. It's decent. I think it was a pretty good day. And I'll show you how much I spent and that sort of stuff, just because I always find that interesting, so maybe you will too. All right, we'll get at it here in just a minute. Yeah, I came up with 15 items. And this Simon Flash, $5.99. Pretty neat. I'm a sucker for any of these Simon games, even though they make me feel kind of stupid because I can't do them. I'll look up comps on this stuff and kind of shoot what I think it's going to bring at the bottom as I finish up. So I think that's the best way to do it. This is a Lysol no-touch soap dispenser. It's just the friggin' dispenser. I thought it'd have soap in with it, but it doesn't. And I comped it, and it was surprisingly good, so I went ahead and picked it up. This silly thing is a Kuhn Rikon made in Switzerland. It's a can opener, and there's a certain kind of these that you put on top of the cans, and this is one of them. And then when you cut it, it cuts it along here, and it makes like a cap that'll pop off. And that's the reason for these little fingers on here. You cut it, and then you put this on the edge of the can and doink it, and it pops right off. They're really neat. Surprisingly expensive. This is a interesting little deal. It's called a Z-Roll, and it's a number 12 ice cream scoop. It's got liquid in the handle of it. It was 99 cents, and comps on those were kind of surprising too. So this is a vintage set of golf cover keepers by Dunlop. There's no comps on it anywhere. And I know a lot of the covers, they use like clips anymore. They don't have the grommets in them, but I thought maybe somebody that was kind of putting together a vintage set might think it's kind of cool. So went ahead and snagged them. The new versions that have the clips and stuff on them are about 15 bucks. So that'd probably go for 10, 12 bucks. They had quite a few different series of stuff there at my Goodwill when I went to it, and $3.99. This one comps at about 15 bucks or so. I'll put some comps up, like I said, and it's pretty good. Anymore, I kind of bought a Downton Abbey one time, and it had a bad disc in it, so I just take them all out of the case and look at them. And this one's got a tiny little scratch right there. I can't feel it with my finger, but I think I probably ought to throw it in a DVD player and watch it. Somebody's evidently, they put some little tabs down there like the days they watched them or something. It's in pretty good shape. Decent comps. I'd like to find a whole set. They go for pretty good money. This whole thing here had one sold at like 15 bucks. So I went ahead and got it. It was a couple of bucks. Sealed and ready to go. Charcoal activated, whatever, Norelco. Those little air filters are really popular, and if you can't find the filters for them, it's kind of useless. This is a little bear that kind of caught my eye when I saw the Starbucks on the side of it. It's Alice and Olivia by Stacy Bendit and Starbucks, and she's about 15 bucks online, something along those lines. Got a little bit of box damage there, but I don't really think that's going to be a real problem. I thought it was kind of cool. So here's one of the finds of the day. A flicking chicken game. Evidently, you put this down and you throw these chickens at it, and it's kind of like a game of horseshoes. And there's 4 of these little classics. And evidently didn't see this, but scorecards in case you get really serious about it and want to keep track. Maybe some gambling involved, I don't know, but I thought that was kind of funny, and pretty good comps on it. It's an older one. Some of the newer ones had like a panel in the front where you can see the chickens in there, but that was interesting. This is Upward. This particular cover of it is a little bit less common than the later one. Got a box corner blown out. I always try to fix those with some good tape on the corners on the inside, and then of course just close it. Most people just don't care. Got a little bag of letters in the racks, and then kind of cool thing about this is it's got a little turntable-y thing in it, looks like. So we'll set on there like those fancy Scrabble games and kind of turn for the next person. So yeah, that was kind of cool. Not sure it'll go back in there now. We'll try it. Sometimes it seems to expand and won't occupy the same space. Yep, I'll get it in there eventually. This is a weird little cheap game. Pressman. There's a little card holder in here, and then these cards. There's not much to it. And you put these cards in here, and then you move this down, I guess, for the clues at one at a time. Everything worked on it okay. It looked like it was complete here, as I could tell. I need to, this is a little timer. Of course, I'll have to stick a battery in that and hope it works, but I bet it does. The reason I bought this, they're not very common here, but there were a lot of them international sales, and they sold for pretty good money, and then it cost a lot to ship them. Of course, I don't know that they paid a lot. Maybe it was all in Europe where they went, but I figured if somebody was looking for one over here, it might be worthwhile. Okay. This I thought was a lot better than it is. I don't know what I was thinking. I messed up when I looked up the the comps for it, I guess. But I thought it was cool anyway with all those little figures and stuff. So, and it's in really good shape, so I'll just put it in there. And if it sells, it sells. If it doesn't sell, it doesn't sell. This is a Jenga Max. It's built a little different than the wood block Jenga games. It's got this base and this little thing here that's got a magnet on it. It pops up to the top, and then you start stacking these Jenga pieces on it, and they're all the same. They're all there. There's 36 of them. And once it gets off center too much, it'll pop loose and drop it from the magnet and scatter pieces everywhere. Of course, it looked kind of cool. It was like a couple of bucks. This thing is one of them. I've run across this kind of thing quite a bit before, and I've not really had great luck with them, but I just couldn't bring myself to do it. I think what the deal is that they ran across the country years ago and had these certain Opoly type games, and they'd put them for the particular businesses and sold them for an advertising thing, like Gator Culvert Company, Dixie Highway, and Lantana. This is from Lake Worth. I saw some of them that were in different cities that were expensive. You know, they were asking anyway, $60, $70 for them. Of course, I'm not sure Lake Worth is wherever that's at. It's got such a great following. This one wasn't really high dollar. Games Times to Remember, but it just kind of caught me in nostalgia. I thought it'd be worth a shot to check it out and see if it was gonna bring anything. And it looks complete. It's from 1991. If you'll dig around on the boxes, a lot of times you can see a copyright date or some sort of date. This is probably the find of the day. It's the Chipmunkator. Chipmunkinator. Sorry, Chipmunkinator. It's a chipmunk cat trap. I'm not sure what you'd want to catch a chipmunk, but if you do, there's the trap to do it with. Stupid thing's got a surprisingly expensive comp on them, so I picked it up. It's been outside for a little bit because you can tell from a couple of the little corners of the, I've kind of cleaned them off, but there were a few little rust spots. It didn't hurt a thing, but I could just tell it wasn't brand new by looking at that. So yeah, you put peanuts or whatever around, and the chipmunks will piddle around in there, and I guess you put some of them inside it, and if they find this hole here, or the one on the other side's the same way, it'll lift up, and then it'll catch them in there where they can't get out. And then once you have a box full of rabid chipmunks, I guess you take them out somewhere and pull this off and flip that open and run, and they'll come zipping out of there and be somebody else's problem. At least it's got some little handles on here to keep their little razor sharp teeth away from you when you're picking the deal up. I thought that was kind of cool. I'd always look at these things and mole traps and that sort of stuff, and they're surprisingly expensive usually. This is fairly small, it'll ship okay, and comps on it, I'll put them up there, but they're around 50 bucks, weirdly enough, and there's been a couple of them that sold. So yeah, it's pretty nicely built, like where the little cage thing is. Once you get them trapped, you roll this across there and clip it on there, and it'll cover that up, so if it happens to get upside down or whatever, they won't come scampering out of there. I thought that was a pretty neat deal. Thanks for watching. I'll kind of do some little outro to show what I think it's gonna sell for. A lot of the guys are pretty slick at that, but I'm just now, I'm still learning, so bear with me. I appreciate it.